Welcome to Talking Off the Clock, the podcast where we dive into the people behind the titles and the passion that drives them. I'm your host, Helen, and today's episode is especially meaningful as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So join me in welcoming someone whose story embodies family, perseverance, and growth. Rene Ramos, Senior Manager in Service Delivery here at TTEC, McAllen, Texas in particular, is going to share with us how he started from an agent nearly a decade ago to leading teams today. Rene's journey is full of heart, heritage, and the drive to make an impact. So let's get started. All right, Rene, we're so happy to have you here today. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We've had a lot of visitors on site. We've recently launched something new for the client. So it's been a breath of fresh air because it's been the last day that we've had visitors for like the last month and a half.
Okay, so you've been busy, it sounds like, right? Just a little
bit. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you for keeping our clients safe. We always appreciate that and, taking care of them through, whatever it is that you're doing. So thank you. We want to start with getting to know you. That's the very first thing that we always like to do on these podcasts. This is Rene's first time here on the podcast, so send him good vibes as you're listening in for today. But, we like to start with a story because, again, it's the leaders behind the title, which really humanizes our leaders all around the world. And today you're representing McAllen. You're going to make him proud. And one of the things that we know about you, Rene, is that you've been with us for almost 10 years. I mean, where to start? So I'm going to hand it over to you for you to share your journey, where it all began, and what kept you motivated.
All right. Yeah, I started about nearly a decade ago. Started off as an agent. And honestly, it was just because this was going to be a little bit more steady than my previous job where I used to sell jewelry. And I'd never been in a call center environment. When I first started off, it was a little nerve-wracking because you're going through all of the training and all of the different regulations and stuff like that. And it gets to the point where you're about to get on the phones. Yeah. And I remember my first call, I kind of froze a little bit. I was like, man, what do I say? How do I have these normal types of conversations? Because usually, I'm used to just talking with friends or family on the phone. And I was like, I got to sound professional on the phone. But after a while, it got pretty easy. Started off as an agent, as I mentioned, and worked that for about 6-7 months. Then wanted to continue to grow with the company. We were in a place here in McAllen where we had a great partnership with our client and we saw a lot of growth happening. So I applied to become a coach in training. And that was awesome because you got to see how you were that bridge to help other people who maybe, this was their first time in a call center, or maybe they came from other call centers that, maybe didn't have a great culture. So you were like that first fresh face for them. And that really helped me in my journey because it helped me see the other side of it, like how you're able to help people develop. From there, became a team lead after about a year of being a coach. And then the team lead role is pretty much like you're a training coach, but just with a more expansive team. And instead of having the new faces, you worked with your team. It was fun. And in fact, before I became a manager, I had gotten really comfortable with the role. I already knew how my team worked. I knew who I needed to keep more of a focus on, who I can, kind of just give them their stats and they'd be great. And I got really comfortable, but it was one of my managers that really continued to push me to continue to apply. And it really helped. It really worked out because I had become the service delivery manager and I was overseeing just one department. And it wasn't until about 6 months after COVID hit when we went through a lot of changes, getting everybody virtual. And that was a very, very stressful time. But after that, I was able to become the senior service delivery manager to where I oversaw all of the site. And doing that while still, navigating through COVID was fun and eventful, but definitely had to adapt to a lot of things. What kept me motivated was my family, and I knew that this would help provide them better opportunities. So I had to continue working at it.
Yeah, I love it. Who is your family made of?
So I have my wife, who I can't, do it without. And then I have 4 children. My oldest is 15. She'll be 16 next year. Yeah, we just had her quince last year. And man, it was awesome, but very stressful. And,
oh my gosh.
And very expensive. It was.
Let me tell you, Rene. I don't know who planned her quince, but when I had my quinceañera long ago, oh my goodness, it's like trauma at this point. And you remember those days? I had to plan it all by myself. And yes, it's super expensive. That's when padrinos and madrinas come clutch, right?
Yeah, definitely. It ended up, coming out really well. And then I have my 5-year-old, which is my oldest son. Her name's Isabella Ramos. And then my 5-year-old, he's junior, so Rene Gregorio Ramos. And then I have my 4-year-old, which is Raya.
Cute.
And then my 1-year-old, which is Raiden. Yeah, definitely very busy time. Raya just started school this year. Rene, he's in kindergarten right now. And then my oldest is a sophomore in high school. So she definitely keeps me grounded. It's been a fun ride. And then with the two little ones, they go to the same school. So when we pick up Raya from like half day, she'll be like, I saw Rene at lunch. I waved at him, I said hi, and he said hi back. And they get so excited to see each other. And I think my little one, he gets a little lonely because he was used to having them all the time. And now they're both in school and he's just at home.
For sure. I mean, I come from a family of like 3. So I remember when we were all at a different school, like elementary, middle school, high school, and that was crazy. So I'm sure you're maybe in the middle of that journey / balancing work, or maybe we'll be there soon. Not quite. Are they in 3 separate schools right now or not quite?
Well, my oldest is in high school and then my 2 younger ones are in the same school.
Okay, cool. So not as crazy of coordination, but still a lot to manage while developing your career. Obviously, your name is a little bit telling, Rene Ramos, little Latino Spanish. How do you celebrate, in the spirit of Hispanic heritage? How do you celebrate, your heritage, both, as you try to stay motivated over time to develop your career as much as you have, and also still be there present for your kids?
The biggest thing is my partner, my wife. She's really what keeps it all together. I come to work, but she does like the really hard part of it, which is, making sure that she's managing, taking them to school and picking them up. Thankfully, with this role, I've been able to help with the drop-offs and help get them ready in the morning. But there was times when we just finished a pilot launch that we did where I was here from like 7, 8 in the morning and I'd leave at like 7, 8 at night. So it was very long days, but she was able to hold down for us at home. And the way that we celebrate is just with family. It's been great having a strong support system, being able to, on the weekends, have the cookouts and have, everybody over.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the best part. And especially since here in the Valley, it's pretty much hot all the time. We get like maybe like 2 weeks of winter, and even then it's like 60, 50 degrees. Some of our clients, when they visit, they come from the Northeast and stuff like that. So when I tell them like, hey, once it gets down to 60 degrees, you'll see people in the jackets and everything. They're like, that's fresh. The great thing about it always being hot though is we're able to, have the cookouts, put up the water slides and moon jump for them, and just having a good time outside.
Love it. Yeah, there's nothing better than to experience the culture rather than just talking about it, right? Like, especially through food. We love our food.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm Latina myself. I'm Cuban. So this is my favorite month to celebrate out of the year with my counterparts around the world. So you mentioned the temperature. So for our audience, I know it's global. For those of you who are not familiar with the world map, if you go to the United States and you find Texas, McAllen is at the very bottom of Texas, close to the Gulf, right? Or right at the border.
We're like, if you look at Texas and you see that little tiny tip at the very bottom,
that's McAllen.
That's us. Yeah, that's the whole valley right there.
Exactly. So Texas is very, very high in comparison to most states. So I get you. Like the moment it drops like a little too much from the regular, I will be putting a coat on too. So, well, that's awesome. It sounds like you balance a lot, Rene, and it sounds like your ride or die keeps you being able to, again, grow your career while keeping the family thriving and healthy. So I am so happy to hear that you have such a strong support system, and thank you for sharing your story to this point.
It's definitely a lot to balance. If without her, I'm not able to do it. That's just really what it is.
We're grateful for her. Yes. Shout out to, what's her name?
Her name's Mariah.
Shout out to Mariah. So this month is all about celebrating Hispanic heritage, culture, and contributions. So, it really speaks to the roots I'm sure that you come from. So can you share with us, like, what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you personally?
To me personally, it's really about, I go back to family a lot because growing up, I lived with my grandparents for a majority of my life, and they would help a lot with my mom. And I was used to being in a house where, there's 2 bedrooms and there was like 12 of us living in that one house, and being able to see how, my grandma, my grandpa would be the ones leading everything and being there to help me, my mom, my tias, and my tios, being able to share in the experiences with all of them. Because I used to be like in high school, I used to be in band, and I used to play football, and my grandma was part of, it's called an athletic booster club. But basically what it was is they would be people that would fundraise for the football games and stuff like that. And mind you, she was at the time not as mobile as she used to be. And she had been there for 10, 15 years leading that club. And she would always make it out to every game, every competition for marching band and stuff like that. So I remember vividly, like, the doctor told her, it was like, you have a pacemaker, you shouldn't be out in the rain. And she would be out there in the rain, supporting me. So what Hispanic Heritage Month means to me is having that strong sense of community and being there for each other.
Yeah. I mean, two things that you mentioned that are kind of funny. Find a Hispanic that listens to a doctor. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
We have our own way. So I love that she's like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. And number two, like, I love that about Latinos and Hispanic. Like, I was talking to my partner the other day and he's like, you know what? There's something unique about like cultures like ours, warm cultures that really like you just see in passing and you're automatically like drawn to each other, bound by community or like, hey, whatever you need, it's a neighbor. I literally have a neighbor right across the street, like, cafecito, like a little cup of sugar. We're so there for each other, whether, obviously in the example of the family, but also as a community. Have you experienced that as well? Like people showing out for each other, whether you're related or not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially the Valley. So the Valley's, I think last I heard was like 92% Hispanic. Yeah. And you see it when you see somebody, just run out of gas. Like it was the other day, we were driving to HEB and it was this old man with his wife and he had ran out of gas in the middle of the road. And so I asked my wife, let's pull over, let's try to help him out. And in the time that I was pulling over, there was already like 3 or 4 cars pulling over as well to help push him into the nearest gas station. And you see that everywhere. If there's like a local high school team that's, making it far in whatever sport it may be, like you see that everyone gets around them and wishes them to be successful. When I really noticed that was when I was in high school during the summers. I used to go up north to work with my uncle and my tío and tía. I always thought that was normal. I always thought that, like, hey, when something happens, everybody, comes around. But then you see that that's not the case. I didn't know that until I started to venture out. And it made me just love the Valley so much more.
I love that. It just goes to show again how like strong of a community you've built and, amazing people you have surrounding you. It's really rooted through heritage. That's a great segue for like, heritage is really more than history. It's about the future too. So how do you bring your culture and values into the way you lead your teams?
It's by ensuring that the team understands that while there is a hierarchy, that's not necessarily what you want to lead by, because at the end of the day, you want to show the people that you're working with that you're working for them. At the end of the day, the agents, they're the ones who allow us to have a job and allow us to be successful. Because if I don't have people out there taking calls, then there's not a need for my role. And, it was when we had a visit from Mark Lenzel. He had a great way of putting into perspective where he talks about, a lot of companies are like a pyramid where you have like leadership on top. But at TTEC, I really do truly feel it's the inverse of that, because our agents are really our people that we need to work our hardest for and show them we're all here. Every role that we have here is to make them successful. From our TA to our training to our operations team, everyone's here working to put them in a position to be successful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I lead a global team, I should say, and the level of what you just said, that inverted pyramid, it's really applied not just at McAllen. You can really experience that across the world. And from TA, like you said, to the executive team, to everybody in between, right? So to my team, which is just, social media, we're also invested in how we can support our agents to thrive and also develop, amazing stories like yours and create opportunities for them. Like, you also started as an agent coach, etc. I just came from a trip from Mexico. I cannot tell you every single person that we got on video, not on purpose. They're like, well, yeah, I started as an agent, or like, hey, I blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, everybody started as an agent. People don't understand how big of an opportunity and gateway opportunity the world of customer service is to really open doors. And I love that you've experienced that and you apply that as well. And I like the example you use of Mark. So for those listening, Mark is our Latin America and North America leader, right? For operations. So he's an incredible individual with a really cool accent, right?
Yeah. He did ask us that when he was here to try to guess where his accent was from. I mean, there's only one person that got it accurate.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's really awesome. No, I love that how you have explained that you're bringing the culture and values in the way you lead your teams, and it matters, right? At the end of the day, it just really shows how you particularly, and at TTEC, thankfully, we all just lead with humanity, right? And treating each other with the utmost kindness, empathy, right? Like we don't use that in our title or, in our slogans or whatever, just because it's a cool thing to say. I really do think it's lived here, and you're an example of that, not just through your story, but as a leader as well. So I love hearing that. Looking ahead, what is something you hope your kids and maybe even your colleagues carry forward when it comes down to honoring their heritage, both at home and at work?
The one thing I really hope that my kids understand, and the team here as well, is really not forgetting where we come from. There's a lot of things going on, external factors that will really try to kind of sway you from forgetting that. Thankfully, with this company, I've been able to grow into this role where it helps me live a little bit more comfortably than it was, when I was growing up. But at the same time, you can't forget that you have to continue to try to help the people behind you to continue to grow and be successful as well. So that's one thing I really hope, especially for my kids, that they understand that there's further to go, but remember where you came from, how far it's been.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Cherish where you came from and honor it and really reminisce on it, right? Because it's definitely something to be proud of in most cases. And whether it's good, bad, or indifference, everybody's journeys, it's definitely molded each of us, right, into who we are today and who we can continue to aspire to become, because it's a life journey, Rene, right? To work on ourselves. I wish it was the flip of a switch, but but I love that. And my last question for you, as you continue to inspire us through this conversation today, is for anyone listening, right, who's working hard to grow their career, maybe someone considering to join us as an agent, just like you did, what advice would you share with them?
I think the biggest advice that I would share with somebody that's looking to join TTEC is that you really get out of it what you put in. So it's coming with a positive attitude and having the humbleness to understand that the feedback that you're getting from, your trainer, your coach is going to make you successful. There's been a lot of practice and a lot of thought that's gone behind the actions and feedback that we give that's proven to be successful. We're a company where we really look to grow from within. And I really enjoy that. In fact, every new hire group that we have that joins, make it a point to meet with them. And I can go down the list from the TA that does our interviews to myself, to the trainer, to our leadership team here, and let them all know that, they all started once as agents. If this is a place that you're looking to grow, there's a lot of opportunity for it.
And again, I'm living proof that what Rene's saying is totally true. I cannot tell you how many stories I have heard like Rene's here at TTEC, where there's just a wealth of opportunity. So long it sounds like, you stay humble, you're coachable, you're willing to learn, and you're ambitious, right? There's something for everybody here at TTEC, not just as a starting point, but as a point for also rocketing your career forward and growing. I love that. Great advice, Rene. Right, Rene, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your journey from family roots to professional growth. Your story really does inspire such a powerful reminder that heritage shapes not only who we are, but also who we lead and inspire others, even if it's just a barbecue gathering, right, with a tia and tío, or a good holiday meal, whatever it might be, or anything in between. Thank you for sharing your journey. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to Talking Off the Clock. Hispanic Heritage Month is a time to celebrate, learn, and uplift voices of our Latino and Hispanic colleagues, families, and friends. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next conversation. And if you're looking for a career where you can bring your full self to work like Rene does, visit ttecjobs.com and explore opportunities to grow with us. So thanks again, Rene, for your time today.
No, thank you guys for having me.
All right. See you next time.